Parashas Terumah begins the process of constructing the Mishkan. This is the classical case of the refuah before the Makkah, that the Kosh Baruch Hu makes the remedy, the medicine, the cure, before he inflicts any suffering, any difficulty in Klal Yisrael, because basically everything by the Jewish people is tikkun. That no matter what we go through, it's always for the sake of accomplishing something good. So Kosh Baruch Hu wants to see us survive. He wants to see it to come out of this thing already. So therefore, he creates the tikkun. He creates the refuah before the Makkah. And this is in response to the Egel Zahav, to the golden calf. The Jewish people were supposed to be the Mishkan themselves. They themselves were supposed to be personal tabernacles for the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is supposed to dwell inside Klal Yisrael, but it's a difficult thing to relate to an abstract God, to serve something that's beyond your imagination, beyond your vision. It's difficult. And as a result of that, the Jewish people, newly out of Mitzrayim, from a country that only was involved in idol worship, exhibited a certain inability to stretch their imagination, to grow to the level where they could actually be that Mishkan, which will happen again with Rosh Hashanah in the future, with Mashiach. So after not preventing the construction of the golden calf, and there were some stragglers who got involved in the worship, but mostly it was the Erev Rav that prompted and carried out the entire thing. And the Jewish people therefore exhibited a need to have something more concrete, something more structured, something more physical that could help them focus on the Kodesh Baruch Hu and how he runs the world. So therefore Kodesh Baruch Hu gave the mitzvah of Mishkan, and it comes later on, but it's in the Chumash earlier because of this idea that Kodesh Baruch Hu makes the refuah before the Makkah, that this is an anticipation, really in response to the golden calf, but it's an anticipation of the golden calf. But it actually opens up an entire discussion, a very important discussion, amongst many very important discussions in the Chumash itself. The passage says, "Vaydeber Hashem el Moshe lemor." Hashem spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu, saying, "Deber el Bnei Israel, yechu li truma me'es kol ish." Right, speak to the Jewish people. Everybody should bring a truma to me from every individual. Asher yidvenu libo, that which his heart volunteers to give, literally. Yechu es trumasi, and take my truma. Right. So Rashi explaining the words themselves. You know, what does it mean to holy truma? Take from me a truma. What does that lashon mean? Of course, it's for Kodesh Baruch Hu. Of course, it's for the Mishkan. It's not for ourselves personally. It's not for the local recreation center over here. It's talking about Avodas Hashem. So what does it mean? So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, according to the Chumash, Rashi says, right, Lili Shma, Lili Shmi, really, right? That it should be Lishma, meaning that when you take it, it should be for me, for my sake. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, and gets into the whole discussion as the Meforshim point out, that really everything belongs to Kodesh Baruch Hu in the first place. So what does it actually mean that we can actually give him anything in the first? It all belongs to him anyhow. So what kind of truma, what kind of matana are we actually giving? So the essence that we're giving, Rashi points out, is lilu shmi. In other words, that what you're giving basically is the will, the ruts, the desire. Right? It's not the actual matana that counts. Of course, that is an expression of one's understanding of this concept. What you give and how much you give and how you give it basically determines how real you are with the actual gift and the meaning of the gift, right? But what Hashem is telling us, what the Torah is telling us, is that the truma, the actual thing that we're giving, is just the vehicle to express our ratzon, our will, our desire to give to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Kodesh Baruch Hu says, give me whatever you know. It's like pulling teeth, like fundraising today. People don't want to let go of their money, let go of their possessions. It's like, you have to do it because maybe you'd be embarrassed if you don't, or because you feel guilty, or we try to encourage people by putting names on the walls and plaques and all these different things, because it's hard to let go. It all belongs to Hashem anyhow. We're all just a bunch of bank tellers in the end. It's Kodesh Baruch Hu's money, and if a person's real with that, especially for Klal Yisrael, because they saw how their parnasa was totally mishamayim, the gold washed up in the shore from the Yam Suf, from the Egyptians, the money from Shemayim. They didn't work. They had nothing. They had nothing. That they could say this is the result of our own physical labor. So they knew that, right? It all belonged to Kodesh Baruch Hu. So then what kind of game are we playing over here? So Kodesh Baruch Hu says, no game. Because what does belong to you, Kol B'nei Shemayim, Chutz Me'ir Shemayim, everything is in the hands of Shemayim, except for the fear of God, basically means that Kodesh Baruch Hu controls everything except your ratzon, your will. I mean, it gets into obviously all kinds of important philosophical dilemmas, which we'll talk about a little bit in a second. So that's the lesson on Bechira. free will. But the main point is that for all intents and purposes, the thing we do control in the end is our desire to give to Kodesh Baruch Hu, how much we give, and how zealous we are, and how attentive we are to what we're in fact doing. Of course, tefillah is all about this. Davening is all about this. And doing mitzvahs is all about this. Called L'Shem Shemayim, learning Torah, L'Shem Shemayim is all about this. So basically, that's what Rashi is alluding to. And it opens up an important opportunity to be able to discuss the all-important concept, as we saw by Parashas Bo, that the entire reason for creation is bechira, free will, to be able to use our free will to choose to be like a Kodesh Baruch Hu, to be a Tzom Elokim, to be in the image of God, not an easy choice to make, and certainly not one that's easy to carry out, but that is, in fact, the tafkid, the purpose of creation, and as the Lashon says elsewhere, we're not free to choose not to do it. Kodesh Baruch Hu held the mountain over our heads to say that I'm giving you a choice, but you should know the choice doesn't really exist. There's no over here. Because if you say, no, I'm going to crush you and destroy the world because the world needs you and the world needs people living by Torah. But however, nevertheless, I will treat it as if you have Bechira. And if you choose the right thing, I will treat you and reward you as if there could have been a no and you chose the right thing. Okay, but lots of different angles to approach this discussion. But the Lashon says the following thing. He says, a little Kabbalistic at first, this is Inin Hashnei Asigim Hinei Heim Keichas Ashorshim Metzias Eklipas Kulam Shehem Kol Tuma V'Hara. So this is Kabbalistic concept called Sigim, which literally the waste product of something, right? That but in creation it's like the refuse, the light of Tzimtzum, the negative reality. And he says that's the source of the force of impurity, right? The reality of the klipot, which Kabbalistic, the word klipot means like a peel, just like a klipot on an orange, right? Or an apple. And the point of a klipot is to divide between the inside reality and the outside reality. So the point of the klipot is to act as a barrier between us and Hashem, that we should break through it. The point of our free will is to overcome the klipot. The klipot are there to challenge us. Also, this word satan means to obstruct, right? So the whole point of the Sitra Achra is really, as a Chavrusa, the Gemara in Baba Basra says, that really the point of the Sitra Achra, as much as it becomes to be so destructive and damaging and interferes and causes so much bad, the bottom line is it's there to challenge, it's there to be our Chavrusa, to force us to greater spiritual heights. That's the whole idea. We're not there to fall prey to his machination. So the klipot stand between us and the Kodesh Baruch Hu, that we should be able or be challenged to use our bechira to pursue a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So it says they're the source of all tum and the ra. Who call a sharis bechira, and because of that, without them, you can't have free will. This is the basis of free will. You don't like him, we can't stand the Sitra Achra. He's always causing terrible, nasty problems to us. And boy, what a better world it would be without him. And that's the way it's going to be eventually, what the Mashiach, the Gemara says. But in the meantime, since the point of this creation is to use our free will in order to be able to expand our portion in the world to come, it's necessary. You have to have the Kli. But without that, without the evil, without the Tumah, you cannot have the possibility of choosing the good and the purity. Right? So he says, this is what makes possible the two possible paths that a person can choose which one he wants to go down. Why? Because this way, that all of his reward should be the result of himself, not should be a gift that comes from Shemayim. There's no point to creation. Angels get it like that, but we are human beings, and therefore we have to be the Siba, we have to be the reason for our reward in the world to come, and free will is the device we have to do that. So a person has the ability, the koich, to be able to build good for himself, or to build evil for himself. If a person walks in the way of Torah and lives by the ways of Hashem, he's building wonderful buildings for himself, spiritual buildings for himself. He's building his portion in the world to come. But if he acts in the opposite way, he's living a pretty decrepit, spiritually decrepit life,